Hello out there in the community. I'm back. It's Chris. It's the Mad Respect. And it looks like the discount comic book service was in a super hurry to get me my next box because door to door took 4 days to receive my next shipment. From the day it was labeled over in I think it's Indiana where the discount comic book service is. Yeah. So yeah, it's here already. This is week 3 for uh, January 18th books right here from Discount Comic Book Service. Quite a lot of books in here I'm looking forward to getting into. So this is my favorite reads of last year, continuing into this year. But as far as reads go, let's quickly go over a few things I read from my last box. I didn't even finish my last box with the comics because this one showed up so quick. But I'll start with Star Wars The High Republic Adventures, issue number 2. This is now at Dark Horse Comics and is still by Daniel Jose Older doing the writing, but the art in the series is by Tony Bruno. This is an interesting story. This main character on the cover here is a Padawan Jedi who's in their teens, uh, but their real goal in life is to become a space pirate. So they sneak into Maz Kanata's castle. Maz Kanata from Star Wars: The Force Awakens and the entire sequel trilogy. Sneaks in there with another friend of the Jedi's, uh, and asks, "I'm going to join up and be a pirate." And in this issue, um, they discuss their plan, and then sorry about the beeping in the back. Someone's getting up over there. And so they discuss their plans, and their plan is to. They know that this other band of pirates is supposedly uh, this robbing planet side, and their ship will be unattended. So Maz Kanata's pirates are going to go onto that ship and see what they can steal off of that ship. But lo and behold, at the same time, the pirates from that ship have the same idea. I'm like, oh, we know they're on our ship, so let's go and steal Maz's ship. So they end up stealing each other's ships, and then kind of like a pirate hunter type character is introduced on the last 4 pages. And he says, "I know you're all pirates, and I'm part of the anti-piracy deal, so I'm about to arrest you all." So both sets of pirates jump to light speed, and at the end, Maz Kanata reveals to our Jedi main character here that she knows that they're a Jedi, and even knows their master by name and etc. But is okay with them joining in as a pirate because they need their help. So that was it was an improvement from issue 1. I enjoyed it. And here is The Dead Lucky. This is issue number 5. This is from Melissa Flores and French Carlo Magno. And this is in the Black Market Narrative Publishing arm of Image, which is publishing the Massive Verse, which kicked off with Radiant Black in 2021, and now spills over into about 4 different titles. Coming up on, I think it will be up to 6 titles by the middle of this year, because there's Inferno Go Red coming, I believe, in my next box, and then a couple months after that, there's a new book called No/1, which will also be in the Black Market Narrative / Massive Verse. Um, and I believe I read somewhere there's going to be a Supermassive 2 one shot sometime in 2023 as well. But this is the penultimate issue to the first arc of The Dead Lucky, and it guest stars Shift, who has appeared in both Radiant Red and Radiant Black, and possibly even, I believe Shift might have appeared in the first issue of Rogue Sun, but don't quote me on that. Uh, so Shift's getting around, and now he's in the Dead Lucky, and this is where the Dead Lucky, the character, she is about to make their final stand versus Moro, the the tech company who wants to was Moro has declared martial law on San Francisco, and the Dead Lucky is trying to keep San Francisco free for the people of San Francisco instead of letting Moro continue to. Moro is basically like Starbucks on crack. Moro wants to build uh, all around San Francisco and create Moro branded apartments and stores and whatever, all basically to turn San Francisco into Moro land, basically at the end of the day. And there's a group of terrorists in here that are opposed to Moro, and the Dead Lucky is opposed to them and Moro, but she is teaming up with the terrorists who have hired Shift to help out to try and cause a distraction so the Dead Lucky can go and talk to the mayor in San Francisco, who no one can get to because Moro has committed martial law. But the main leader of the terrorists betrays Shift and the Dead Lucky and tries to cut a deal with Moro and ends up being arrested instead. And then Shift basically says, "Hey, you're surrounded there. What are you going to do?" And on the last page, she says, "I honestly have no idea." But then it says to be concluded. So kind of a cool cliffhanger for the final, coming for the final issue of the arc. And here's the concluding to arc number 2 of Ghost Rider. This issue number 10. The series is by Benjamin Piercy and I believe Corey Smith is the artist. This is a regular artist on this title. I'm not sure if he drew this issue, but this cover is by Phil Noto. It's a classic homage to Marvel Spotlight number 5, first appearance of Ghost Rider. It's an homage done right. I think it's very awesome. But this is basically this is kind of like the showdown between both Ghost Rider, Talia Railroad, and Exhaust, as well as Blackheart and this other character who has appeared throughout the series. I can't recall his name, but basically, at the end of the day, Ghost Rider has to depossess Talia Warroad by turning back into Johnny Blaze and forcing the Spirit of Vengeance to leave his body for a moment so he can have control, so he can talk down Talia, and then he saves her, and then they both ramp back up. He turns back into Ghost Rider, and she has her powers back for good, and they easily beat Exhaust. And both of them go to team up with this third character, and they send Blackheart back to Hell. But throughout the issue, it shows that the denizens of Hell have possessed several high-ranking members of society, senators, politicians, actors, musicians. You know, so although they did send Blackheart back to Hell, it's going to be a long, long fight, and at the end, Talia Warroad is fired by the FBI because her boss is secretly working for the demons and the devil too. So now they're going to be free agents as they attempt to run around the country stopping demonic activity from here on out. So that was the end of arc number 2, and I really enjoyed the final part and enjoying the series overall. And then the last new comic I read from my last box was All Against All, issue number 2. This is by Alex Packnadel. More on Alex Packnadel when we get into the box here in a minute. And art by Casper Wingard, who was the artist on Homesick Pilots by Dan Waters. This is a new science fiction title. Basically, this alien on the cover, this is actually kind of like a mech suit, and the alien itself is kind of like a little squid type character. You can kind of see his tentacles if you kind of look closely, but yeah, he's just like a head with tentacles, kind of like a Squidbillies. You think he kind of looks like the guy on Squidbillies in a way. But this tells the backstory of the human that has been kept in this enclosure. If you've ever seen the Superman Adventures episode where Brainiac has the kind of zoo of all the different creatures, the one where Superman fights Lobo in that episode as well. Uh, it might not have been Brainiac. It was whatever the character who appeared in the Lobo two-parter. He was basically a collector of dead species, and he kept them all on his ship. And then at the end, Superman liberates all the creatures and gives him a new home in the Fortress of Solitude. That's kind of the idea behind this story. These aliens went from planet to planet that were near the planets were near extinction and found their dominant life form and put them all together in this habitat on their giant spaceships. And then when they went to Earth, all they could find was infants. So the infants, they called them mewling, helpless creatures with heads bigger than the rest of their bodies. And all they did was sit there and cry. So he named the one human he took with him into the habitat Helpless, because as a baby he was helpless. But then put him into the uh, put him into the enclosure basically to die. But then Helpless, the child, is adopted by a giant gorilla who they also took from Earth in the enclosure. And up until Helpless is about, I'd say, preteen, he's with the gorilla, but then the aliens have to take the gorilla for more experiments on the gorilla and leave Helpless alone in the enclosure, which turns Helpless into more of just a straight up savage because he's raised by a gorilla, and now he no longer has the nurture of the gorilla. He just kind of went bad. And so the first set of scouts in the first issue they sent in to find, because basically these aliens are about to have a war with another faction, and they're looking for the strongest type of creatures they have in their reserves to help, and as like kind of like what Wayland Yutani does with the aliens. They want a biological weapon to use on their enemies. So they know about the human who, who this is the main character. He's I think his name is Katabi or Witabi. He calls him Helpless, and he's been lying to all the generals about Helpless because he's kind of like he feels like Helpless is his own child. He said he left him in there to die, but actually when he was infant, he didn't feed him from the bottle and whatnot before he was taken in by the ape. And so um, the first set of people who went in to try to find Helpless were haven't been heard from. So the general, this guy, and his daughter go in after to find him, and they find a trap that Helpless has set, which is basically he's killed one of the original scouts and made a scarecrow looking thing out of him. So from the distance, it looks like a person. So like, it's the friend of one of the new people who've come in to look for him. So he's like, "That's my friend. I gotta go help him." So he goes to run help him, and he's like, "No, don't! It's a trap." And then Helpless then confronts this main character here, and even though he's drawn pictures of him in caves and whatnot, and remembers him, he is still angry that the ape was taken away, and makes short work of him, rips him apart so that his mech suit is all torn up, but the head part is still there. And then the general zaps Helpless with a ray gun, and on the last page they go, "Well, we got him. Do you want us to call the other scientists?" And he's like, "No, the scientists are just going to take him away from us and not let us utilize him. I'm in charge here." So to be continued. And in the next issue, I guess the squid part of our main character is still around because he just ripped up the costume. So the squid part of him is still uh, has to find a way to help him, even though he's kind of compromised. So it's an interesting new sci-fi book. All right, and then I caught up. This wasn't in my last box, but I did add it to the comics that I took with me to work, and this is the end of Dan Slott's run on Fantastic Four. The beginning of the Reckoning War began in the Reckoning War Fantastic Four one shot number one, and continued into Fantastic Four 40 through 45, along with um, Reckoning War Trial of the Watcher special number one. And this one has art by Javier Rodriguez, so it's one of the better parts, and it's really cool. It's basically a what if special, kind of, because they make fun of Uatu for uh, spending his time staring into space and thinking up what ifs. They kind of rag on him for that, the other older Watchers, because Uatu is the child of all the Watchers. He's the youngest. So the main idea of the Wrecking War is before our universe, the universe was much more vast, and the Watchers were like the most powerful thing. They were basically gods. And then they decided we are going to share all our gifts with all of the people of the universe equally, and we'll share all our gifts with everybody. And it was going fine for thousands of years, but then they met a warring race called the I can't remember what the warring race was called. They might have been called the Reckoning, but that's what they're called. You know, they're having a reckoning with this warring race of aliens. Once they got the Watcher technology and weapons, they decided we want everything. We're gonna enslave the universe. We're gonna destroy everything. So uh, they they went ahead and enslaved 9/10 of the entire universe, and the Watchers were close to being overrun by these people. So the Watchers are the ones who created the ultimate nullifier, and the first instance of using the ultimate nullifier actually destroyed 9/10 of the existing universe and defeated this warring race of aliens. So that is why they made their vow of non-activity. They can't act, or they can only watch. They can't help basically. So only watch from that point. So you find out that they've closed off that entire slice of the universe, and it's all poisoned and diseased and like nuclear wasted behind a barrier, which is kind of like the source wallet you see in a sense. And they created the 616 universe, which is a smaller slice. They created that with their powers and said, "We're going to start over from scratch with this, and we'll let it run how it runs, and we won't interfere anymore." And so this begins with those aliens. They've been plotting for 100 million years to get their revenge on the Watchers. So and since they're there in the irradiated wasteland, but all those weapons are still there, so they've been spending all that time repairing all these weapons. So at the start, Uatu finds out that someone's been arming all of the Kree, the Skrull, the Bogdoon, Annihilus, all these different species with the Watcher technology again. So he sends Nick Fury. Nick Fury, who's the Unseen. Nick Fury was the Watcher for a while, but now he just has Watcher powers because Uatu's back to life, and he's kind of he Nick Fury is kind of Uatu's like spy, you know. He's like a spy for Uatu. And so Nick Fury finds out that it was this previous race of aliens who have been uh, arming all these other people, and all at the same time they blow up the moon to kill Uatu, send all of these different races to every different galaxy all at once to start simultaneous attacks and keep everybody busy while the aliens come out of the irradiated part of their old universe into ours. And then there's on the in Shi'ar space there's this crystal that kind of has to do with Man Thing's Nexus of All Worlds. It's another version of the Nexus of All Worlds, and if that is repurposed on the Watcher homeworld, they can unwrite reality and everything will be destroyed. And that is their ultimate goal: is to punish the Watchers for destroying them in their original universe uh, by ending everything. So Reed has to figure out what's going on, and Reed ends up uh, ingesting Uatu's. Uatu had like a little hard drive worth of knowledge on what's left of the moon, and he ends up ingesting that into him, and he now knows everything ever. And he knows, and Johnny is like super flamed out from what Doctor Doom did to him at the wedding, and he knows how to fix Johnny, but he's like, "Oh, I can't fix you, Johnny. We need your extra power, or we're not going to win this." And Johnny gets mad and leaves, and has to fight Annihilus off where his ex-girlfriend is with the Spire. And Reed has 4 days to live because having that much knowledge in his head is fatal. And then halfway through it, Reed tells Ben that uh, Alicia, his children, and Reed's children all had to self-destruct the Forever Gate, and they're all dead. And Ben just like beats the whole living hell out of him. There's this cover. It's the issue where Ben just beats the holy living hell out of Reed, almost to near death, and then Reed's like, turns on, and he hears Alicia, and Alicia's like, I'm fine, Ben, I'm fine. And he's like, why would you say something like that? He's like, because I want to know how you would react when you've lost everything, you know? Can you still do what needs to be done? So Reed just has all this weird stuff going on. And then this is a character who appeared when they created the Forever Gate. It's called the Cormorant. And this is where Doctor Doom battles Cormorant and Cormorant's master, both of whom are part of this old alien race, like lesser generals in that race. But at the end, Doctor Doom uh, uses his magic to bring Cormorant's master onto the field, and the master's like, "Oh, I didn't know you could find me." He's like, "Well, that's because I know I can combine science and sorcery, so now you're mine." And he's like, and the guy's like, he's like in a kind of like a metal mask, and he's like, uh, "No one's ever had me on the battlefield before, and since you pretty much defeated me, you you deserve to know who's under this mask. I've never shown anybody who's under this mask." And then Doctor Doom obliterates him, and he goes, "Irrelevant." So it's like it's made to seem like this guy is important under the mask, but you never find out who he is because Doctor Doom totally annihilates him. So that was probably my favorite part of the whole crossover. And here's a cool Doctor Doom by Arthur Adams variant. And then this is a good issue because Reed tells Susan right at the end, all those times you asked me to come to dinner, and I stayed locked up in my lab. I didn't realize that, you know, you were the only thing that was important to me, you know. So that hit really hard, and it was really well done. But then the final issue kind of cuts to after it's over, and then kind of has a weird wrap up. But basically, the final act of it is that Uatu uh, takes back the power from Reed's head, but it wasn't that. It was Reed had to use the ultimate nullifier to destroy the ultimate general of this alien race and save the universe. But that is usually fatal if you shoot the ultimate nullifier. So he's basically, at the end of this issue, he's basically committing the ultimate sacrifice for the universe. But what it did was, when he shot it off, since he had the Watcher knowledge in his head, it sucked all of that out back into the nullifier, killing the general, but then saving Reed. But then Uatu basically is dying because um, when the general found the Watchers, he implanted them with a memory that they would all, because there's like a mind meld of Watchers that they have halfway through the story. So they're all stuck in this mind meld, and he puts in the memory of what they did, how they betrayed this alien race, basically, by giving them the weapons. And it has made all the Watchers insane. So Uatu goes in to tell them, we are ultimately at fault for all this. But when now he's in the mind meld, he's going insane too. But then, because of this, at the end, all of the power ends up going into Uatu, and he becomes the Uber Watcher, the Watcher above Watchers, you know. And so he basically unwrites all the damage that this alien army has done through this whole crossover, whole storyline, and then fixes the other 9/10 of the universe and makes it no longer irradiated and opens up the gate. So now there's all this wide open space that has never existed before, and it's all, and Reed's all excited because like, oh, I used to know just about pretty much everything, but now there's 9/10 of the universe now that we could go explore and we don't know anything about. And then the TVA shows up, and they restart Galactus back to regular Galactus form because he was dead from Thor. And then they combined him with, in this storyline, they combined him with the Destroyer from Thor and turned him into Destruction, who is like, he doesn't eat, he just destroys. So he goes from being dead Galactus to the Destruction back to regular Galactus. And Silver Surfer's like, do you hunger? And he's like, for knowledge. And he's like, will you be my herald? And he's like, no, I'll be your partner. And he's like, agreed. And so they're going off into the 9/10ths of the universe uh, for knowledge, Galactus and Silver Surfer. So I don't know if they're going to make a comic book about that in the future, but I mean, it would make sense. And then the final issue of Dan SLOTT's arc, this is the Predator variant by Superlog. It basically, in issue 35, they have a 100-page story about a battle with Kang, and at the end of that, there's a video from Nathaniel Richards that tells Reed that he has um, a slightly younger sister from Nathaniel's other marriage, because Nathaniel Richards would never stay with Reed and his mom all through Reed's childhood. He'd come in and out and disappear. Um, so, but now he finds out he has this other sister. So in this one, he finally meets her, and he takes her to Yancey Street and introduces her to the whole family. And then the people on Spire have found a way to uh, power down Human Torch from his human son form. So they take his new sister Spire, and then Johnny powers down, and everybody meets each other. And on their way back from Spire, Reed's like, "So you've met this entire family. How do you feel about this? Would you like to be a part of the family?" And she's like, "Absolutely not. Just take me home." And he's like, "Huh? Okay, I understand. You know." And then they get attacked by another Fantastic Four villain who hits Reed with like a hate thought bomb or something, and Reed's all like, "I hate you. I hate everybody. I hate my dad." And then his sister's like, "Well, I hate my dad more." And they kind of come to like an agreement that they hate father more than they hate each other. And she's like, "And I do want to be a part of your family." So at the end, they're fishing together, and Reed's like, "I'd like to go fishing with you more often," because she's a marine biologist, and he's like, "Well, we're gonna have a lot of time to do that," and that is how Slott ended his run, and I really enjoyed. It's 46 issues and a couple of specials was Dan Slott's run, and I think it began in 2015. 2018. So yeah, that was Dan Slott. And that was when they came back after Disney reacquired the rights to Fantastic Four, as they canceled all the titles when Fox had the Fantastic Four, because they didn't want to actually publish Fantastic Four books when they didn't actually have the license, totally, I guess, which I think is kind of petty. And I did find one more that I did read from the new box. This is, I mentioned this last time, this was the Aftershock One Shock Eden. This is from Cullen Bunn and Dalibor Telajik. Uh, Yeah, and this is basically oversized prestige one shot. They've been doing a series of these since like 2021 or so. It's the newest one. This is basically about a tattoo artist whose wife and child died in a car accident, and so he's just kind of like he just comes to work, goes to the bar after work, gets drunk, drinks himself into a stupor so he can't remember and can pass out, and that's how he lives his whole life. And this girl Eden comes into the shop and asks for him personally and says, "I need you to draw me an animal on my body." And so he's like, "All right." So, but she has no tattoos on her at all. And she's like, "Oh, I've had hundreds of tattoos." And he's like, "Oh, you must have spent a lot getting them removed, you know." So he gives her the first tattoo, and they kind of hit it off. But then all his coworkers are like, "Why didn't you ask her out?" So like 5 weeks pass, and she shows up again, and her tattoo's gone. He's like, "Oh, I put a lot of work into that tattoo." She's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. This time I want this type of animal." So he puts that on her, and then Des go out for drinks with her, uh, spends the night with her. They have sex, you know. And then another 2 weeks pass. She shows up. The tattoo's gone again. She's like, "Now I want this animal." And he's like, "Where do these tattoos keep going?" And she's like, "I can't tell you, you know." But so after that, he follows her out of the parlor into a park where she's there, and he sees her naked in the park, and she's like, "Ow, ow," and the tattoo is sprouting off of her into one of these animals here. So another week passes, and she shows up, and he kind of knows what the jig is. she's like, and now I want this animal. And what about people? She's like, no, it has to be an animal or something, something that doesn't have like conscious thought or whatever, or, whatever. So I can't remember what he says exactly. Like only simple. She says only simple creatures. So he gives her another animal, and he goes and he watches it happen again. And so then he's thinking, oh, I miss my wife and child who died. He has a dream about them. So when she comes in the last time, she's like, I want a big one on my back, and I want this kind of animal. And so he's there, and they show him tattooing her. When he's done, he shows her in the mirror, and then you see that on his mirror, a picture of his wife and son that he had as what do you call it? As reference. And she looks at it and she's like, "Oh my God! I told you, only simple creatures. What have you done?" And she runs out, and then they're like, "Go after her, asshole!" So he goes after her, and he goes to the park, and she's there, and she's screaming like, "Ah, oh, it's too much! It hurts too much!" And he's like, "Don't you understand? You killed me!" And then her whole body starts shredding and rips to shreds. And then there's his wife and his son, formed out of her, but they're kind of like not quite, you know, perfect. Like they're not human. They're like too pink. And then like his son is like running and eating the other animals that she's created out of her body, like ripping them apart with his teeth. So he's kind of savage. And then he's like, I'll take you home and we can be a family again, but it's gonna be tough because I don't think you fully came back. There's just not enough of not enough. There wasn't enough Eden to bring you fully back, and that's how the story ends. So it reminds me pretty much of like a Twilight Zone type story. All right, everybody, thank you for that. For listening to my extended review. Even though I only had a few books, let's get into this week's books. It's a decent sized week. I don't know if it's quite as big as the week before, but it does have a bunch of multiple issues. I mean, it's more books overall than my last shipment, but less actual titles. I think there's a lot of uh, triples of a certain title because I get 3 copies of each cover for that series. And if you've watched my videos, you can probably guess what that series is. And this week's invoice. We have 29 issues this week. Actually, a bigger week than the second week. Definitely bigger than the first week, which was only 7 books. But there's this week. This one's delayed from week 1. It came in week 3's box. This is Trojan #1. Cover A by Jeff DeCall. People on the internet who are really big into Jeff DeCall. But this is a new one from AWA. This is by Daniel Kraus and Lacey, with colors by Marco Vesco. And then when I saw the interview, I believe it was an interview with Daniel Kraus, I believe, or with someone from AWA. They said, "Wait till you see Lacey's art. It's such a new thing. People are gonna be really into it from comics." But then when I saw the preview at the back of the last issue of that last Alien Exorcism book from AWA, which Restitution or something, I can't remember the title, but I saw the art and I thought, it's just kind of more or less kind of like Mike Diodato. I thought it was gonna be like maybe the last time I saw the last time I opened the comic book, it seemed like the super game changer to me would have been Marvel's #1 from Alex Ross for the obvious reasons. So I was thinking maybe I was gonna open this and I was gonna have those same type of feelings, but I kind of spoiled it by seeing that preview. I think it's serviceable art, but I don't think it's a big game changer like I heard about ahead of time. But this is basically I've heard this is like Fables meets Red Room. So if you've ever read either of those books, this book would be up your alley. But I've liked a lot of AWA's books, and I like Daniel Kraus. He's doing the New Year Zero. He did the Living Dead, continue prequel to the Night of the Living Dead. George Romero. George Romero started it but died, so Daniel Kraus finished it and fleshed it out. It was George Romero's prequel to Night of the Living Dead. All right, book #2. This is one where I start to have multiples. This is House of Slaughter, issue #11. The Butcher's Return, Part 1. This is by Tinian, and returning is Tate Bromble, writing the arc, with art by Deladero and Antonio Fuso. And yeah, this is cover B by Werther Deladero. Second copy. And the third copy. I got 3 copies of House of Slaughter. And I'll stop around issue 20. And here is House of Slaughter. I believe this is the this is the Danny Luckert cardstock connecting variant. So looking forward to see how these connect. I'll keep one of these out so I can start connecting them on camera as I get further issues. Make sure this is the card. They say they're connecting cardstocks. Yeah, it's cardstock for sure. For sure, cardstock. You can see it. See the shine there. Pretty cool. I like that purple. I like how they have a different color back cover with the dragon on, or something that's coming in the children's comics. It's a nice uniform trade situation. Here's the second copy. Here is Barbaric Hell to Pay, issue 1. This is the first mini-series of Barbaric for 2023. I hear there's a couple of mini-series and a special all coming out in 2023, the Year of Barbaric. And this is by Michael Marici with art by Nathan Gooden. And this is the B cover by, no, it says cover. This is the B cover. The B cover by Gooden and Duke, the main artists of the series. Usually the B cover has a variant artist, but not this time. And this is the FOC reveal cover for House of Slaughter #11. Obviously, by the great Jenny Friesen. And there's what do you call it? There's the one per store unlockable, I believe, which is black and white with blood on the blade, and the one in 25 is fully black and white, I believe. But I'm okay with this open order Jenny Friesen #11. It's cool. It's unfortunate that Jenny Friesen didn't do a variant for the second arc with that character, because there's no Jenny Friesen cover of him. Because even Book of Slaughter, I found out there was a retailer exclusive Jenny Friesen cover for Book of Slaughter that I'm gonna have to pick up on eBay here in the future soon. Second copy. And the third. And here's one that had a cool ass solicitation that was being shown around all last week. Here's Nightwing #100. This is the cover G Bruno Redondo acetate cover. So when it was being shown around the solicit online, This was blue here, and this is black. With his face was all white, the mask was blue, and his eye was all whited out. And he had no hair. Maybe he had the hair, but it was definitely more of a, what do you call it, negative space type of look to the white Nightwing himself. And here it's just a normal drawing of Nightwing. But then the cool part of this, cool part is when you flip open the actual book. You got that, and you flip it open. He pulls his mask off, or he's pulled his mask off, and she's Babs. I like that inner cover, and this is kind of what that's kind of what it looked like. You could imagine looking it out of the way here. That's what it looked like. See how it looks all white with the blue mask? That's what it looked like. So that's what they showed as a source. That it was just flipped open. If I had an all white, if I could get out of here, if I could, what do you call it? Get myself out of the video with CGI or something so you can see the white behind it. But that's number 100. Here's Alien. This is issue number 5. Back on here. This is cover C, variant cover. Let's see if I can see a signature on this bad boy. If you're not, so we'll do pop it out. Alien's been pretty good. This new arc. So this new arc is 6 issues, and then issue 6, I believe, comes out at the first week of February. And then in March, they're rebooting it back to issue number 1 again for the next arc. I don't agree with that. I wish they could have done at least another 12 on the second arc. Pretty cool art in this Alien series. So, 2 variant covers: Mateus Bargara and Nick Dragata. Now that I've opened it, I can clearly see right here down by the eggs it says Dragata. So this is cover C by Nick Dragata. It's not. It doesn't really stink of Dragata to me, like, because I've seen Dragata's art in Hickman's Fantastic Four and East of West. And this doesn't stink of Nick Dragata's regular style to me. More House of Slaughter. This is the 4th. There's 4 covers for House of Slaughter for issue 11. Open order. This is the A cover. I believe it's just by Fuso. Nope. This is the A cover by Manhanini. I think it's Mateus Manhanini. Loose. And Trace. Alright. I said a lot of books in this box, but most of them are some of the same. Oh, I didn't know this book was in. I don't know this book was in this box. Sweet. Not this one, but the next one. Here's Nightwing number 100. This is the Jamal Campbell wraparound cover. Cool. It shows him beginning as Robin at the back end and flying and jumping all the way up to his current all costumes up to this uniform, even him as Damien's Batman there. Very cool cover. Although I thought the Bruno Redondo acetate cover G was going to be a acetate of the image of cover A. No. Alright, here is Venom number 15. Kind of disappointed here because there was an eBay auction for this that they showed on they showed an eBay auction of this cover on Beyond Wednesdays recently, and the eBay auction clearly showed this as a gold foil variant. So the foil was gold and the webs were popping out pretty white, but I guess the open order is just a normal old crappy Marvel paper version of it. I wonder what the uh, gold foil one is, like maybe 1 in 100 or something. I'm not sure. But this is a classic homage to Amazing Spider-Man 375, originally by Mark Bagley, and this one is by John Tyler Christopher. It does all the Star Wars action figure variants for the most part, and he also does a lot of negative space uh, covers for Marvel books. And here is Batman One Bad Day, Bane, the Bane special issue #1. This is cover F premium variant by uh, Giuseppe Camuncoli. That's a long video. I went on for like over a half hour talking about this comics. I guess it was all I talk about. Maybe I'll put little links to each part of the video so you can jump to new books or something. We'll see if I can figure out how to do that. So here's One Bad Day Bane. I also found out that I think there's 3 more of these. There's Catwoman, which is actually coming in the next box or next week. She was supposed to come out in December, but she was pushed to the week after this one, so they came out of order. Catwoman comes out next week. So all of these Camuncoli ones, when Ra's al Ghul issue comes in March, uh, they're going to have a cover that has all of these as one cover with them all standing with this background together. So I ordered both the full Ra's al Ghul cover and I ordered the all villains one because I'm afraid the all villains one is going to read like this and they'll all be on just like this rather than a true wrap or like multiple gatefold cover, which is what I would prefer. Here is Nightfall double feature issue #2 from Vault Comics, and this is by Andre and Tim Daniel. Tim Daniel was from The Plot, and this is more Daniel Kraus, previously mentioned from Trojan, and then the other book. Okay, this is not a flip book, I guess. But this is the deluxe edition cover by Chris Sheehan, kind of embossed at least. It's not really foily. I don't think you can call it foily. Rock and Robbie on his show raves about the smell of these one shots. But this has the Denizen on one side, and in the back it has let's see what it looks called. Denizen and Denizen is the second story. So, wait, Denizen's on the front cover. It should be the front story. This thing. Second one's something about bones. I can't. The Cemeterians. The Cemeterians is the other story. Cemeterians is about all the bones on the planet showing up in inanimate objects and other dead creatures. Like your mattress will suddenly be full of a bunch of bones, or a stuffed bear will be full of a bunch of bones. Here is Hulk #11. This is now written and drawn by Ryan Otley. And it says down here, "Are you ready for some Godball?" So this is the Godball issue. I've heard a lot of people say this is lame. This is a pretty lame issue. I somehow missed ordering issue #12. Uh, so if the only way I can think I'm going to get #12 is I think Billy at Economics and Comics bought extra and they're still there on his site. So if an FOC comes up here in the very near future that has another book I'm going to pick up, I may add the #12. But hopefully before the end of this month, because I have to add 13 to this month's order on Discount Comic Service. If that doesn't occur, I will not get 12, 13, or 14, and I'll just eventually check out the trade the final trade for that run of Hulk. Then here's my favorite DC book is Batman Superman World's Finest. This is issue number 11. This is the finale to the Boy Thunder story arc. This is by Mark Waid, with art by Dan Mora, and colors by Tamara Bongo. Excellent on all counts. So you found out in the last issue on the last page that Boy Thunder is the teenage version of Magog from Kingdom Come. I heard about this one on Beyond Wednesdays this week too. Spoiled it for myself by watching their videos. This is Immortal X-Men number 10. And spoiler alerts. 4, 3, 2, 1, mute it. Spoiler alerts at the end of this issue. You've seen that they, at least on the Beyond Wednesdays video, I guess it's been said that ever since the beginning of House of X Powers of 10, all the way through now, Professor X has never taken off his cerebral helmet ever in any of the books for now going on 4 years. And he takes it off at the end of this issue, and you find out that the Professor Xavier that's been the architect of Krakoa, the Krakoan Age, is a Mr. Sinister variant, and he has the red diamond on his forehead. At the end of the last issue of, speaking of that, end of the last issue of X-Men Red, which is the last issue that leads into Sins of Sinister, you find out that the alien that has been working with the bad guys, Orcus, that alien was like a big globe ball alien, and they kind of like shoot it, or Cable shoots it, and at the end you see it kind of like broken up, and then that pops open, and then out of that came a Sinister variant with the black spade on his forehead, and then there was like a Cable communique X-Men Hickman what do we call it? Hickman data dump page, which is like something Cable was writing about a bad dream he had about the evil villain with the spade, with the black spade. So I guess that's the black spade Sinister. I wonder if they're gonna have the spade, heart, diamond, club version of Sinister and Sins of Sinister. But guess what? I'm not going to be reading Sins of Sinister or any of those villain stories. I'll just wait for the full complete collection whenever that comes next year. I can live without it, and I'm hoping at least X-Men Red and Immortal X-Men do come back at issue 11 later this year after Sins of Sinister. Here is Art Brut, issue number 2. I believe this is cover C by Chris O'Halloran. Yep, C by no, not Chris O'Halloran, but the other guy, Martin Morazzo and Lopes. Lopes is the color, so not Chris O'Halloran, but yeah. All right, so that's issue 2. I'm looking for how that continues. Number 2 here of Nightclub from Mark Millar and Juan Ramirez. This is his new image book. They're putting out $1.99 an issue. So the first issue, nothing really happened. It was all set up. And this one, probably a little bit more happens. But as I said, it's $2 an issue. Even if it's like kind of just meh, it's $2 an issue. Here's maybe my tied for my favorite comic at Marvel. Here's The Punisher. This is issue number 9. This is the Young Yun Yoon variant cover, probably cover B. Yep, cover B. The Punisher. Some months there's a cover B on Punisher, and I get it, and some months they only have an A. And as I said, we'll get back to Alex Packnadell 40 minutes ago. We're back to Alex Packnadell. Here's GIGA, issue number 5 from Vault Comics. Issue number 4 came out in 2021. It's been a little while since we had GIGA. I might be. Giga 4 might have come out at the very start of 2022. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it came out in 2021 because issue 1 came out in 2020. So yeah, probably issue 4 came out in 2021. This book and then the picture of everything else by Dan Waters. They both got the monster delay. And then Ron V's book, what is Ron V's book? It's the post-apocalyptic book that he did with the guy who does all his books with him. Uh, man, I can't remember what Rom's book is called. It's watch the one guy's book. Watch the one guy's channel. I can't remember his name either. Uh, Comic Culture. Watch Nick Comic Culture's February preview video. He'll tell you what Rom V's Vault book was called. It's something about it's a post-apocalyptic book by him and the artist of Blue and Green, and his first Rom's first book, Graffiti's Wall. That artist. It's Rom and that artist. They did a book for Vault. 2 issues came out. Some people think 1 issue came out, but I have both. 2 issues came out of this series. Something Sunrise, maybe? I can't remember what it's called. Uh, but that book, the 2 issues came out, and then they canceled it. So I don't know if Rom canceled it or the artist canceled it, but it won't be concluding. At least not at Vault. But maybe like someday in the future it'll be like this one, Art Brute, which was the Electric Sublime for Boom Studios or wherever it was at, IDW, wherever it was at. And they'll re-release it at Image. Maybe they'll do that for can't remember what it's called. It's a post-apocalyptic book by Ron V and the artist of Graffiti's Wall and Blue and Green. And this is GIGA. So as I said, books delayed by Vault for a long, long time. GIGA number 5. It's finally here. Now I have to go through my short boxes, not this weekend, but some weekend in the future, and find 1 through 4 and reread the entire story because it was pretty cool. This is basically giant mechs, uh, a world where giant mechs used to walk the earth and battle aliens and other giant mechs. And then one day they all sat down and deactivated where they stood, and then the society of this world uh, created their ecosystem around these giant mechs. It became their homes and their habitats. So these giant mechs became their habitats. And then in the first issue, you find out that one of the mechs that's they're basically all in hibernation. They're all in hibernation mode on this planet. You find out that someone has deactivated or murdered one of these mechs in the first issue, and that was the conceit of the series. Who murdered the giant mech? And uh, basically, high concept science fiction from Alec Packnadell. This art was by Lee, and this is The Slumbering Gods Will Wake, Rending Metal and Flesh. Okay, that tells me this is cover B, and I believe these were all by Gooden, maybe. Vidyaka. It's by John Lee is the artist. And the cover. Look, now we have an ad for Giga, the complete series coming. Yeah, because you finally finished it. Yeesh. Oh, this video is pushing an hour. I still have 2 books to show. Crazy. I just want to tell you who this cover is by. Is it really not going to tell me who the cover is by? That's crazy. It's going to say it on the back, right? I'll leave you in suspense on who that artist. It's the same artist who did all the variants for. I think I got cover A for book 1, and then I got cover B for 2 through 5 here. So it's the same cover artist on all of these. He used to do a lot of B covers for Vault back in 2001, 2002, and he did this final B cover, which is pretty awesome. I like that. That's really awesome. All right. And 30 seconds to go till it's close an hour. I might edit this video down, or I might not. Alien number 5. This is my cover of the box. Saw this on FOC, and I'm like, please do not be a ratio. Because usually when you get a cover that's awesome, it's usually always a ratio. Imagine if this was red foil. That'd be fucking amazing. excuse my language. I guess you're only not allowed to smack. You're only not allowed to swear in the first 15 minutes of your video, but we're all the way 59 minutes into the video, so I'm gonna say this cover's fucking awesome. Anyway, Mateus Bergara, I'll be looking into more of his cover art. This is looks like kind of like a skeletonized alien queen head from what I can see there, or maybe burnt alien queen. I don't know how to say it. Looks like he's someone's puppeting it. Maybe that's awesome cover. I like that cover. And the final book, we have another Marvel classic homage. The second year in a row with this classic homage. There was I don't know what book had it last year, but this, it was Cantwell's Iron Man run. Cantwell's Iron Man run had a classic homage of Tales of Suspense number 39. And this is the Tales of Suspense 39 classic homage, and this is by Alex Maleev. And I'm probably wrong, but it sure looks like Alex Maleev. Have your title pages on the first page. I'm wrong. It is not Alex Maleev. Tales of Suspense number 39. Homage by Esad Ribic. Most recently of The Eternals, which is one of my top books of 2022. If I ever make the video, it will probably be in the near future, probably in the next 2 weeks. I'm going to make my best of 2022 video, belatedly. Everybody else has theirs out for the most part. I think there's one other YouTuber who's maybe halfway through their list because they're doing a list of 50 for some crazy reason. I maybe might get 10 in mine, tops. But you saw Ribic. This is Invincible Iron Man number 2. This series is by Jerry Dunnigan, and I believe a guy named Frigeri. Yeah, Juan Frigeri, not Juanin Ramirez from the other book I showed you. All these Juan, this new Juan guys. This is where all of the new Marvel Stormbreaker artists are all hyper cheap South American artists who are working for pennies, who draw all of Marvel's mediocre books. But I'm a sucker for Iron Man. I've been reading Iron Man since it's basically the second comic book I ever started collecting with Transformers. Go back to my very first video. You can hear my story about how I bought a Transformers and an issue of Iron Man off the shelf. Yep, I've been buying Iron Man since the very beginning of my comic collecting life. And I'm continuing now with Jerry Duggan's new run of The Invincible Iron Man. And that will conclude this extra long video today. I guess it's extra long because the books came extra quick. I just had a video Friday, and this one will be up today. So I'm probably not gonna edit it, so it's super long. So I'll put a little notice at the top of the comment section that says "Jump to here for unboxing," because I talked for a half hour at the start. Anyway, I'll get this stack. Show off the stack. Make this video longer. Ah, really? Oh, they put 2 up there. Okay, so look at that. Look at that stack. It's only 29. Does that look like 29 to you? That's what 29 comics look like. And so if you're thinking about going to ordering comics online, and you're wondering about what the cost to you will be shipped, not counting shipping, 29 books runs me about 86 bucks. So you can get your calculator out and calculate how much that is per book. But when you factor in that it's an $8 comic, the other one is an $8 comic. Actually, I think the last time might even be a $10 comic, but the regular cover price is an $8 comic. Bane is an $8 comic. Here, the House of Slaughter, these ones are $5 comic. And then the last one I was going to show, this guy. This Nightfall is a $10 joint. So I think those, if you're doing cover, we're talking around 40 bucks right here. And I got the entire stack for 86. So it does pay to order at FOC or even before FOC. Order from a pre-order place. I use Discount Comic Book Service. There's also my comic shop does it online. But you get the entire month all at once, I believe. You can't get weekly shipping like Discount Comic Book Service. And I can imagine my stack or my box would look like if I got all my comics for a month all at once anymore. It'd probably be a couple of diamond boxes duct taped together if I had all my comics for 1 month all come at once. Anyway, alright, thank you for sitting through my video today. I might be back again this week because next week's box, or the box for the 25th books, is already marked for delivery, or whatever you call it. It's preparing to ship, and it's only Monday. New Comic Book Day is Wednesday. My New Comic Book Day books are preparing to ship on a Monday because they come out. Economics and Comics got theirs already because they've done reviews of all the Marvel and stuff on their video yesterday. So go check out their video yesterday. So until next time, which will probably be this weekend. So there'll be 3 videos in 6 days, 7 days. Pretty cool. They're getting their shit together because I didn't receive my first box of 7 books until the start of the week before this. So it was the middle of January before I got any January books, and in December it was like December 20th before I got any December books for December. That was crazy. I got like two of them pretty close together in that month too, because so if you're not on time with your payments, they're gonna kind of withhold the goods from there. So I should be up to date with that sort of stuff from now on. Anyway, alright, thank you for looking at this video, and we'll definitely see you in the next one. Everybody out there, take care.